You thought this film was just going to be a Call of Duty mission. Maybe if Michael Bay had got his hands on it, but no.
1, 2, 3.
Ooh yeah, you want to experience the bleakest reality of war in a setting where you can't tell half the time what's going on or who half the characters are? You want a war film that's so realistic that it barely even feels like a film anymore? You want a war film that manages to feel like a horror film even though really nothing happens? What do you mean no? Warfare is about a group of Hollywood twink boys trying to redefine themselves as manly men, and yet also not. It takes place in Iraq in 2006. A group of soldiers take a position, try to hold a position, they later leave the position. It's almost all in real time. The first half hour, nothing happens, and they don't even, like, they make fun of the guy who tries to, like, speak to them, make small talk, or any kind of conversation, so literally nothing happens. They are just watching people, and that's what we get to experience. And it does kind of build the tension, but also then when everything breaks off, you expect it to really go like, whoa, and it still doesn't really. Yeah. Now, Alex Garland directed this alongside an actual Iraq War veteran. These are based on his actual experiences. It's the real-time version of his memory of events of a certain day. It's the most hyper-realistic you can get. It is worth mentioning, though. When I was sitting in the cinema, there were certain things that happened, like they kind of go, ha, new guy mentality when somebody actually tries to, like, talk to them, and then he walks away, and then they just continue not really talking, except a jargon you don't understand. And I'm like, wow, is that realistic? Yep. Do I want to sit here and watch that for half an hour? I do really like some of the elements of the slower, more methodical building of the situation that we get because it's being directed by a veteran. And Alex Garland was probably the right person to choose to do this alongside him. I'm not sure it would have worked as well as it does without him. But at the same time, I don't know. I don't know what the message is here, okay? Because it does some kind of stuff about, like, showing the impact on the Iraqi civilians in a situation like this and how horrible that is for them, and there's nothing they can do about it and all that. But that's not what the film's about. And it kind of, it feels at times like it's trying to do, like, a real anti-war thing, but other times it feels like it's kind of propaganda-y in a little bit. So, so I think it's confused about what messages it's trying to send here, you know? And any of the, like, things I feel like, oh, we could be meant to take this away from it, I could either get from a normal war film that's not hyper-realistic, or I just don't think are very necessary messages. So it's very difficult, because I just feel like they're confused about what they're actually trying to say here. And at the end of the day, as much as, oh yes, the soldiers are, like, being shown by the director, it shows in the end credits, like, how to, like, walk out and with a gun and, like, you know, assess the situation and get into a firing position. But that's not what I care about, you know, like, the emotional toll and the horrors this takes on people. That's probably the more interesting part to look at from the perspective of a veteran, a real veteran directing this. And we don't really get much of that at all. There are great moments. I mean, great moments. There's a couple of moments that just completely, literally shell-shock you. And they're so well done. The sound mixing in this film is nuts. It's really impressive how they utilize sound, because it's so quiet sometimes. You know, there's not a ton of background music going on in this film. Like, it is so quiet sometimes, and then it just boom. So yeah, when those sequences hit, when the sequences hit, you are left breathless, falling off the edge of your seat. And that makes up, to some degree, for how much I feel like the film is losing out on by being what it is at other times. And it is short. It's not overly long, but it feels a little bit longer than it is, I think. And that's just because it doesn't necessarily, I don't know, it doesn't go the way you expect it to go. I don't know what your expectations are going in, but it's not gonna be what it is. And I feel like it's a real mixed bag as a result, because it's not shying away from hard topics, it's dealing with some interesting things, it shows, and what it's able to show is great sometimes, but also, it's quite slow, it's not that interesting a lot of the time. Some of the time it is. And I'm just left feeling like, yeah. It's the same as if, yeah, Call of Duty is not a very realistic war game. But if you actually made a realistic war game, would anyone want to play it when they play Call of Duty? You know what I mean? That's the feeling I'm left with. Like, yeah, this wasn't an actual masterpiece, and it kind of needed to be an actual masterpiece at what it's doing to make up for the fact that it's not a very exciting war film. So I'm giving they literally achieved nothing in this film. 3 stars. I don't know whether to like the fact that Will Poulter and Joseph Quinn stuff really didn't seem to have an ego about like having to be the main character, or feel sad that I didn't get to see as much of them as I wanted. There are actors I know in this film that came up in the credits and I was like, they were in this? That's the kind of film it is.